Welcome, everybody, to a really, really great event that I have been trying to get together in my head. I've been thinking about this for a long time. There are some people out in this USC space to me that are just absolutely doing phenomenal work. And so I thought, a while, USC J and I were talking about maybe getting together on each other's shows. And I've also had Rusty on the show with Rick that we do on our Trojan Conquest. And then recently I got in touch with G Greens, and I thought to myself, well, why don't we all just do a show together? And I reached out to these guys, and they were all enthusiastic, excited about it. We said, let's do it. Let's get together and try to get our fans together into one big, nice Trojan family community. And that's really what we're trying to put out for you guys. I went out and this is my A-list. These are the guys that are independent YouTube and Twitter personalities out there that I thought were fascinating and that were interested in working with me. And I made it happen because I know, as a viewer of all these people and a follower of Rusty's work, I know how exciting it is for all of you guys out there. And I thought we'd bring us all together in one place. So before I go too much more into my fanboy phase, I'm just going to go really quickly and tell you guys over here on the top here, I've got USC J. USC J has his own USC YouTube show. Amazing, you guys. If you haven't checked it out, it's one of them every day. He's putting out content every single day. USC J, thank you for being here. How you doing?
Man, let me say this first, man. You and I, of course, we've had a show together, but man, let me say once again, thank you, man. It's an honor to be here, man. I'm very happy and excited to be here, and man, let's make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm beyond. You guys can see on my face how excited I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. Then you have Arrogant Nation. Also, I know him as Rusty. Rusty does not pull punches. You guys, if you're on Twitter and you see some of these guys that he just lines up and lets them walk right into a couple punches, some of these fans, man, I got to tell you, I would say that it was satire, try to explain to them, but I don't think even some of them can spell satire. And so when they come on and they try to go head to head with Rusty, it's absolute pure comedy. He's got great insights on the program as well when he's not goofing around with trolls. Rusty, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing great. It's great to be here. I appreciate you guys having me on. It's great to be amongst the legends of USC, Tim J and G Greens. I appreciate it. No, it's great to be here. Glad to have a place that we can all talk USC football, get together and put some of the best ideas out there. So I appreciate it.
No, I mean, I appreciate you being here as well. I'm a huge fan of all three of you guys that are here. I think this has been going on too long. I mean, I can't believe we haven't all got together at one time before this, but I feel blessed to know all of you guys and really excited about having this show. And then last but not least, we have G Greens. I've been watching his videos for quite some time now. He does a great job. I've shared with him. I said, man, that format you have is killing me. I wish I'd have thought of that too. Really clean videos. And I've been a fan. I reached out to him and we kind of miss each other a little bit. But recently, like I said, we were able to connect and he was just as enthusiastic to join this group. I said exactly who's involved. He said, let's go. So thank you so much, G Greens. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Tim. I'm really excited, man.
Yeah. So the format for tonight, I think we want to just keep it loose. These guys are very busy individuals, day jobs, their own channels, their own accounts they're working on all day long. So I thought I'd keep it easy for everybody. And I just threw up these topics. So obviously we just got the introductions out of the way, but we're going to have the top 5 coaches that right now it's that time of year, right? We have these lists, people are throwing lists together. This one right here has, some people are getting it really, really wrong. A lot of the stuff, I got to admit that I just kind of did it because I want to hear what the thoughts are of these 3 gentlemen next to me. And, the coaching idea is one that I think everyone is kind of intriguing. It's kind of moving. Just want to throw it out there to get started. Then we're going to get deep. We're going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to talk about some teams out there that were leaving the Big 12. The Pac-12, and we're heading to the Big 10. Yeah. And who are we going to miss? So as we're leaving the Pac-12, who are we going to miss in the Pac-12? And then looking forward to the Big 10, who are we excited about going and seeing and having a rivalry in that league? Then the last thing, this is where we're going to do our heavy lifting. There is a wonderful situation happening at USC. The depth we have now on defense at USC, we've gone from skeletal to stacked. And I don't think that the rest of the country, especially some of the fans I've heard from the Pac-12 and the Big 10, they have no idea what Alex Grinch and Lincoln Riley have assembled on the defensive side of the ball. We have had our struggles the last couple of years. Last year, because we were really thin. Before that, there was a lot of stuff going on. But right now, I think with the piece they put together, I think we have a great situation. All of us on this panel agree it's a situation where there are so many great pieces. Who's going to fit in? So we're going to make our best guesses on how that's going to work. And then finally, guys, if you guys are leaving comments, questions in the chat, if there's time allowing, these three gentlemen are very busy. We're trying to keep it to 1 hour. If we get Tim to shut up at some point here and we get going on the show, we should have some time left over at the end where you guys can ask questions of the whole panel. So with that, let's start it off. So USC J, who would you put? So we have 5 choices here. Who are you putting as your top 5 coaches in all of college football right now? And by the way, so the frame of this is it for this one season? Is it for all time? It's more a little combination of both. So it's, what have they done in their career, but also where are they right now? If you are an athletic director and you have your little list inside your desk drawer of who you would like to hire if you lost your coach to the NFL, it's really kind of that thing, your dream 5. So who would that be, JT?
Man, I think I would go this route, and it's simply because they have what Janet Jackson used to have a song, "What Have You Done For Me Lately?" And I think we got to really kind of look at it from that perspective. Last year, what were the top 4 or 5 teams that were playoff bound? USC was right there on the outside looking in. So, of course, I'm gonna put Kirby Smart. He passed, in my opinion, up Nick Saban 2 years in a row, win the Natty, man. You win the Natty 2 years in a row, you gotta put him at the top. And then, of course, I'm gonna put Nick Saban up there second. Now, I'm about to confuse everybody right now because right now, and it's going to appear that I'm being biased, but I'm not. I'm going actually with 24/7 Sports. They had a top 5 list, and they had a percentage of each coach. And the way it was based on a formula developed by Matrix Analytical Index. And so they got Lincoln Riley number 3, and I tend to agree with that. And they got percentages: 94.31%, Kirby Smart 1, Nick Saban 98.54%, and then Lincoln Riley is next at 96%, and then Ryan Day. So Ryan Day and Lincoln Riley are the same spot to me because they both went to the playoffs but didn't win any playoffs. And then next is going to be I'm going to go ahead and put Jim Harbaugh for my 5th one. That's just how I see it. So it's Kirby Smart, Nick Saban, Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, and Jim Harbaugh. What have you done for me lately? Dabo Swinney lost to the Sauce, man. I mean, hey, I'm not feeling it.
Okay. I agree with a lot of that. I think you can find that my list has the same guys on it. It's just going to be maybe in a slightly different order. Rusty, what do you think? So you have this opportunity. You're looking at your top 5 choices for head coaches. Who would you pick in order 1 through 5?
I'm going to go a little bit of a different route. I love the "What Have You Done For Me lately," although I probably would have put Harbaugh over Day with that just because he has beat him 2 years in a row. I'm going to go Nick Saban 1 because he is the GOAT. Always in the thick of things, whether it's, national championships, SEC championships, 7 national championships, 10 SEC championships, is consistently in the SEC championship game. So always has, his players in a good spot. So it's hard to not say Nick Saban, either 1 or 2. It doesn't really matter. They're interchangeable. Obviously, 2, you got to go with Kirby Smart. He's, been around the block as a defensive coordinator, has, 4 national championships as a defensive coordinator, 2 national championships as a head coach, obviously the last 2 years. He always has his dogs playing as an underdog, which I think is a ridiculous narrative that's in the news, that Georgia is for some reason coming into next season as a doubted 2-time national champion. I think it's impossible to become a 2-time national champion and be doubted, which is just crazy. 3, I would put Jim Harbaugh. And 4, I would put Ryan Day, just for those reasons that I kind of laid out before. I think Ryan Day, he was born on third base, right? He inherited Urban Meyer's people. He inherited Urban Meyer's a lot of his staff as well. So, it's for him, it's, he was obviously born on third base. Jim Harbaugh, I think he always does more with less, and he's starting to really hit his stride over in Michigan. Obviously there were a couple years where there were some rumors where, he was going to leave and this and that. But he's really hitting his stride over there. They're recruiting at a high level. He's got his players playing at a high level. So it's really exciting to see what he's doing over there, especially with us moving over to the Big Ten and everything that I've had as far as, nice thoughts about him from the Pete Carroll days, even though he beat us a couple times.
Wait, what's your deal? What's your deal? Yeah.
And then 5, I'd put Lincoln Riley. And, maybe I'm a homer. Maybe I just see through Kyle Whittingham really not being that guy. I think a lot of what he does over Utah is the defensive coordinator, Scully Scally. So, I put Lincoln Riley at 5. I think he is, obviously, with the college football matrix rating that USC J brought up, he's one of the top coaches. He's one of the top offensive minds. It's tough to run a defense under that quick of a offense. And, this is something we can get into at a later time. But I think with the players that we brought in, it's going to be really exciting this year. And I won't bury the lead on, defensive depth chart, but I think there's a lot of big things coming up. So Lincoln Riley 5. So Saban, Kirby Smart, Harbaugh, Dave, Riley.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. G Greens, what do you guys? So again, you got the choice. You get to rate these guys top 5. We're trying to keep it to where it's, that theme. I do like the fact that we're looking at what's happened recently, but you do got to take their whole career in as well. Now I'm trying to tell you guys how I'm voting, but go ahead. Who do you got for a G Greens? What do you got for your top 5?
So number 1, Nick Saban. He's the GOAT, just like Rusty said. Number 2, I have Jim Harbaugh above Kirby Smart. I appreciate his culture. He does more with less. I just like the way he runs his program. 3, I have Kirby Smart. His teams are elite. If this was a recruiting list, he would be 1. Plain and simple. But with the culture issues, I just can't put him above Jim Harbaugh. 4, I got Lincoln Riley. Offense, Heisman's, we all know. And then 5, I actually have Kyle Whittingham. I really appreciate what he's done there at Utah. Without Kyle Whittingham, Utah would not be what they are today. And I think he's one of the top 5 best coaches in the country.
I mean, it's hard for me to argue with all those lists and the way you guys laid it out. But staying with the way I said it, I am putting a lot. I know you guys went in a little bit of a direction, and I have to do it. So 1, I am going with. It's hard because, like you just said, G Greens, the GOAT's the GOAT. But at some point, sometimes there's just a better ram coming down the road, and obviously after saying that, watch Nick Saban prove me wrong right away. But I just have to say it. Back-to-back national championships. Winning a national championship is hard enough. Winning back-to-back is a huge thing too. And then on top of that, the fact that a big part of the success, even when he was defensive coordinator for Georgia, heavily fell on the shoulders of Kirby Smart and just the way the program and the way he runs it. You can tell he's had a stamp on this program for a long time. Rick was amazing, but I think towards the end there, it was really Kirby Smart that is the guy lately that's getting Georgia in the place to win.
He's really what Kirby Smart is doing right now. I mean, to really bring that defense that he was running at Alabama right now and bring it over to Georgia, man. To me, I think he's doing it. And then the recruiting, they recruit on another level. He has to. I mean, in my opinion, he has to be number 1. I mean, they're so dominant. If you look at the first round picks, all these guys that are coming out of Georgia, I mean, it's unreal. I don't know if we ever seen it like that. First round,
and that's
picks
what I mean.
Like
That's what I mean. As far as before he became a head coach, even before he was a head coach, Rick had it going on, and I'm not taking it away from him. But before he was a head coach, he was an amazing defense coordinator. And then when he came over and became the head coach, he took that Georgia team to, I just think to a different level with the recruiting, with his defense, and now we're seeing it. Like I said before, it's hard to win 1 national championship. It's near impossible to win 2 back-to-back, and they're in a decent position to win 3 in a row. Again, people are doubting them, but they are the favorite to win another one. So everyone needs to realize that it's hard to rank these top and 2. A lot could change. We could absolutely see Nick Saban even with their offensive woes and whatever, which Nick Saban is number 2. So even with his problems, that defense and the recruiting, we're talking about recruiting. So but he kind of lost a little bit. Also, the reason why he's number 2 for me now is the fact that he, as far as coordinators are concerned, going to Tommy Rees, I would hope you have a little bit bigger Rolodex for that when you're at that level. But so you can't drop much. You're the GOAT. You're number 2. Number 3 for me, this is where I almost don't want to do this, but I am. As much as Jim has done a lot, what Lincoln Riley has done in just a short period of time has been consistent. He's won everywhere he's gone. Also, when you looked at Oklahoma program, the year before he got there as offensive coordinator, they were a mess. He came in with his offense, sorted them out right away. Every time, every game, every season, they're winning 10 games. We're still out right now. And just like USC J, you brought the fact about being more on third base. That was a knock on Lincoln Riley. They said, well, you know, he did really well at Oklahoma, but he was headed that program by Bob Stoops. Well, guess what? He comes to USC. The program is an absolute mess. He turns it around in one season. I love during that interview how he said, I don't, you know, I have every expectation of winning a national championship. I'm not going to make an excuse that we're rebuilding here. And he damn well almost did it. So the way that turnaround that bumped him to number 3 for me. Then I'm going with Jim Harbaugh for the same reason. I think it was you, Rusty, or was it Greens? I can't remember. One of you guys said that everywhere he's gone, he's won. You know, this guy started out San Diego, got enough, then went to Stanford. We don't have to remind everybody what he did at Stanford, turned that around, goes to the NFL, comes back, slow start at Michigan, but now he's got them going to back-to-back playoff games and beating Ohio State twice. That puts him at a solid 4. And then for my 5, I you know, this is kind of hard, but it is Dabo, because you don't win like he's won over the past, I don't know how many years. Yes, last year was the first time in a long time that he didn't have an uber successful season. But the fact that he's had just a string of great wins, he's also on this list. He's one of the guys that has, you know, one of 3 guys that have national championship. We cannot overlook that. So I put a slot of him at number 5. I mean, I could go on and on about the issues they had, coordinator issues, etc. But I think that they're also turning that program around. I think they'll be okay. So there's my 5. I hope all of you guys agree. Listen, if you're out there right now and you totally are sure disagreeing with some of us, go ahead, please go ahead and tell us who are your top 5. Or if you guys are watching this later on recording, do me a favor. Go ahead and drop in the comments. Let us know who's your top 5. I promise you, I will be answering any questions. I'm sure these guys might drop by as well if you speak to them specifically. Any last thoughts, you guys, on the coaching top 5?
Yeah, I think if we look at all those coaches too, that those upper echelon coaches, what coach had to go up against any other circumstances going up a hill the way Lincoln Riley had to and overturn a roster? I think most of those guys, Jim Harbaugh, Dabo Swinney, not so much as Dabo Swinney, but because I think he had a little bit of a real rebuilding process as well. But I think Lincoln Riley had to literally, because of some of the negative stuff that was going on with that program, I think he had to climb up a different hill. And if you looked at all the national analysts the year before last season, all of them said that it's going to take Lincoln Riley 3, 4, 5 years to get this thing rolling. And Lincoln Riley actually got this thing done in 1 year. And, you know, we got to give him big time credit. 11-1, nobody, even fans, you guys, I don't know if you guys remember last year, this time, you know, I was talking about the transfer portal and the guys, man, but I think he exceeded expectations, man.
Yeah, he absolutely did. And again, I go back to that. I guess you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought it was like either during his press conference where he was announced, or very shortly after they try to give him an opportunity to say, hey, you know, we're going to rebuild. How long? You know, what are your expectations for the season? And he didn't hesitate. He said, I expect to win a championship. And that's the kind of moxie that I like to see in our head coach. That's what separates us from maybe some of the less successful coaches that we've had here. This guy's not looking for any excuses. Rusty or Greens, you guys have any final thoughts on the coaching staff?
Yeah.
The coaching list, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, I kind of repeat what USC J said, right? Lincoln Riley had to turn over a mess. You kind of look at what Kirby Smart did in his first 2 years at Georgia, right? 8-5 his first year. Second year, they were in the national championship game. I think that's highly, highly possible with this USC team. Obviously, the first year exceeded expectations, although, you know, those paying attention to the program knew the players he had coming in, knew the folks that he had coming in as coaches, knew Lincoln Riley as a coach, so expectations were already high, but exceeded expectations of other people, really got USC back on the map. I mean, I see it every single day on Twitter. The reason why we get so much hate is because USC is a problem. So it's exciting to see what we can do in year 2 of Lincoln Riley.
Isn't that's your like whistling past the graveyard meter, their pucker up meter, right? Whenever you see these natural guys or these other guys talking about, Oh, Lincoln Riley's tampering. Oh, this and that and blah, blah. That's just dog whistle for a holy crap. Here they come. And that's exactly what I'm hearing. Exactly. G Greens, anything to add?
No.
All right. So next topic, you guys, we're going to talk about looking back. So we'll do that one first. Those of you guys out there looking back, we're moving from from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten. And this move, I will tell you personally, I grew up, I'm a little bit older than the people on the panel, and I have great memories. I think the greatest football I can remember is maybe even not the greatest years that USC had, let's say, when you look at a national level. But I mean, I can remember all of those teams. I remember the Pac-12. I remember a lot of these teams, even when we were very successful under Pete Carroll, rising up. I mean, who would have thought that, that the teams that were going to beat USC during our height of our success during Pete Carroll, we're going to be the Washington States, the Oregon States, and the Stanfords of the world, right? And yet we're blowing out Ohio State. We're blowing out SEC schools like it's no tomorrow. We're going to Rose Bowls and win them easily. So what I want to do during this section is there, whether it's from a long time ago, recently, who in the Pac-12, as we move from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten, what if one program are you going to miss the most? And I'll just get mine out of the way really quick. Mine's Oregon State. And you guys probably thought I've lost my mind because of that decade where they got in the way of, national championships. And that's exactly why I'm going to miss them. This is a small little school up in the Pacific Northwest, out in the middle of nowhere, Corvallis. And these guys come and bring it. These are guys that quote unquote nobody wanted or whatever. There's insane athletes, Simonton, Hushmanzada, Osho Cinco. These guys I think of in the past, and even a coach like Johnson Smith as a quarterback there. These guys found a way to win. They're ultimate gamers. They come prepared, and if you don't give them your A game, like USC found out, they came in flat after that big win against Ohio State, and they went down early in that game, 21-0, and they couldn't claw themselves out because they had that team was jacked up at Reser Stadium to give USC a beating. And while USC was the much better team, it's those kind of programs in the Big 12, the Pac-12 that I'm going to miss. USC J, what are you thinking about?
Man, I'm thinking about so many, man. There's been so many battles. There's been so many. The University of Washington, man, is really. I've been to that stadium, man, and just really some of those teams, man. They go, Ray. Hey, Ray, what's going on, my man? Ben Wayless, but he's actually out there. But going to Washington, man, and you just looking at some of those stadiums, man, looking at the views, and then some of those teams, man. You had teams back in the day like Napoleon Kaufman, man. You had Burnell quarterback. You had some crazy teams at Washington won national championship, I think, under Don James, man. So it was like those teams were like the real. That's when a lot of our California players were going. A lot of LA players.
Godfather, yeah, man.
They were going like crazy to Washington, man. A lot of my buddies actually played on those teams, man. So it's like, man, I think the University of Washington. I've always respected that program because that is a program that's successful. They got a national championship behind their name. So, man, I would say the University of Washington. Arizona State too. Jake the Snake Plumber, man. I'm gonna miss that. That whole thing, man. Pat Tillman. So I thought about all that, man. When you talked about the Pac-12 memories.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I'm hearing you on all that stuff. Big Lincoln Kennedy. I mean, there's so many great players, so many great programs that are going to be missed without a doubt. It's hard to stick to just one. I could name a bunch, but just for brevity, and I know you guys have to get out of here within an hour. That's why I stopped at one. Rusty, what do you got for us?
I'm going with Stanford. Not only because, obviously great memories of, weekenders up to San Francisco, friends coming down from Stanford for, games in LA, but like, were there any better battles than Pete Carroll versus Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw versus whoever we had as our head coach, who I'm not going to name? I think that's when Stanford is recruiting, when Stanford has a relevant coach, they can recruit at a high level. They can offer 5 stars, 4 stars, a degree to Stanford, and folks are going to come. So, I mean, they had people, Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey, Toby Gerhardt, Bryce Love, just absolute dogs on those teams, right? And those battles, whether it was at the Collie or up in Stanford where no one would show up, but they would show up for, USC because we're USC, those were games. Those were battles. Those were fun. So, I'm hoping that, our future AD is listening in and we're able to get some future games with Stanford or, future games with, even if it's Cal. But, hopefully we can keep those weekenders alive because those are a lot of fun. But Stanford's definitely going to be the one that I miss the most.
Yeah, I mean, this is no slight on San Jose State, but I think if they could work in the way that we're doing at Stanford, then a Cal up in the Bay Area kind of, if we're gonna pick a team, Stanford or Cal, that's gonna be great with an idea of keeping that weekender going. Because Stanford's our oldest rival too, right? I mean, I think we've played them more times than anyone else. Am I wrong?
Outside of
someone
UCLA,
can fact check that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, people forget about how good Stanford was, right? I mean, they very well. McCaffrey probably should have won the Heisman, and they had some really solid teams earlier in the decade. So yeah, I think that's a great choice as well. G Greens, you're up. Greens, can you hear me? Oh, all right. Connection issues. So for me, that was the team, right? I said Oregon State. Let's go with who's my team for the team that I'm looking forward to in the Big Ten. So I thought about this long and hard, but really it came down, if I'm not going to lie to people, it really came down to two teams. And it's two teams that the USC is very familiar with, and that would be Michigan and Ohio State. But if I had to pick one of the two, I've already been, I've already been to a lot of games. For instance, I saw Ohio State when they came to the Coliseum. That was just, a domination. There haven't been many times, and I'm looking forward to the very first season we are in the Big 12. We're going to have Michigan coming into the Coliseum, and there's so much history with that program. Their first team helmet all the way in my book. And Jim Harbaugh really has them rolling. And one thing I'm going to say also, just like those USC teams, Jim Harbaugh is kind of gone away from the conventional norm, and he's building a really high-powered, rush, gigantic, jumbo set kind of team that's going to come run right at you. And I think we are getting the pieces in place, and I definitely do believe with another cycle under our belts, we will be there. But that's a team that's going to challenge us stylistically. I think we match up a lot with Ohio State. They're kind of like us, a high-flying offense and probably question marks on defense. Michigan showed they had an incredibly stout defense last year, and they just have that innate ability to run the ball down your throat. I'm looking forward to seeing how well we can take that punch and handle it. USC J, what are you thinking about going into the Big Ten?
Man, I think of the atmospheres, man. I mean, it's three that I got in mind. Of course, Michigan, Ohio State. But I think of that Penn State, man, as well, man, that the big whiteout game. James Franklin absolutely has it rolling over there. I mean, I think Ohio State and Michigan is kind of the obvious answer, but I think next would be for me, I would say Penn State, man. I really think that's going to be and we actually go there, I believe, the first year. That's going to be a rough little environment, man. They have a whiteout that night. So I think that I can remember some of their history as well, man. Some of their great running backs, linebackers, LeVar Arrington, man. So I think of all that when you're talking about Penn State.
Yeah. Penn State's gonna be exciting. If we do get that whiteout game, because we are going to Penn State, that's gonna be amazing. That's on my bucket list for sure. I mean, it's Kinnick going in, and also obviously the Big House and the Shoe and all these are gonna be great to go to. But I don't think anything is gonna be able to get me ready for that whiteout if there is a game at Penn State. Rusty, what are you thinking? How about as we go into the Big Ten? Who are you looking at?
I mean, you guys laid out the two obvious ones that I'm really excited for: Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State. Those are all, those are going to be great battles. I can't wait for that. And those stadiums are just so historic, right? I'm a huge stadium buff, so to be able to go to those stadiums, that's going to be really, really cool. The one that I'm thinking about the most is Nebraska. And it's not just because, Nebraska is the most active on Twitter and I love them and they have a great fan base and, have the most consecutive sellouts and this and that. But, with a new head coach coming in, with a reinvigorated fan base, I just think they're gonna do well again. I hope they're gonna do well again because I think, they come to us or we go there in 2025. And that game's just going to be awesome, right? I mean, you're going to have year two of I'm blanking on his name.
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, sorry. Year two of Matt Rule. And historically, Matt Rule has had a lull of a season in year one. And year two, they just turn it up. So I'm excited for Nebraska. I'm excited for, not only the fans, the environment, the people, but just, you know, a really, really tough football game with Matt Rule bringing back the fullback at Nebraska like a madman, and, you know, really just digging into that gritty Big Ten Midwest football. And I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and anyone that was around, what was it? Was it 2007? When did they come out here to the Coliseum during the Pete years? Talk about a fan base. And we got to remember this. I mean, Rusty, you battle some of the craziest weirdos I could ever imagine. I don't blame you for the battles you have. But the fans of Nebraska, and in general, you know, we all know if you go to South Bend, great fans. You go to all these places, great fans. Internet, not so great fans. But in general, I was also in Iowa. The Iowa fans for the Holiday Bowl. These fans are just amazing. I can't wait to have an opportunity to go out there, and hopefully I make enough connections that I can join in some of their tailgates and enjoy that Big Ten tailgating. But I'm with you. I think Rule's awesome. And hey, man, Fickle's at Camp Randall.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have that thing, man. The way he did at Cincinnati, man.
Yeah,
he's gonna have it rolling, man.
He's gonna have Cincinnati with some Big Ten pocket money, and I think he's gonna tough-nosed defensive coach. I think they're gonna make some waves up at Camp Randall too, and I can't wait to jump around. That's gonna be
crazy.
That's gonna be amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, then let's move on into this next section, and this is we're really going to be talking about the depth. Everyone here, you must be a diehard. Here we are in the middle of July, and we're talking USC football. That just means to me you are not a casual. You are aware. You're listening to USC J. You're listening to G Greens. You're following Rusty, so you know football. And they're giving you the best content there is, and they're giving you up to date. These guys, as soon as something breaks, it's just bam, it's there for you guys. And if you're here, you absolutely are a diehard. So when I say to you guys, we literally don't have a problem on defense anymore. It's gonna be interesting to see how this all comes together. I know that USC J is on board with Coach Grinch. So am I. Rusty, I'm not sure exactly where you stand on this, but I can say this. I do think it was very clear last year. We know football is a game of attrition. And I know our depth chart, we had some players on defense, but we were kind of thin at some positions. And when the injuries start picking up, then the problems start, and it started kind of unraveling towards the end of the season. They have done a great job going into the transfer portal and picking up some of the best talent in the entire country to go along with great talent we already had here at USC. What we want to do a little experiment here is obviously none of us know exactly what this is going to look like. And that's the best part about this. There are so many studs. If for whatever we don't name your fan favorite, it's just three guys giving our opinion. We're going to try to keep this as objective as we can. Obviously, I didn't see much of spring practice. I heard some stuff. So we're just going to throw it at you. And we're going to go position by position. USC runs a 3-3-5. I've heard, but basically it's a 3-3-5. We're just going to call it that. And we're going to go position by position, and we're just going to throw out, who do we think is going to be the starter at that position. We're not going into a total depth chart, three deep, but I will tell you guys, this defense is 3 deep at almost every position where I would be very comfortable. I don't know about the panel. I'd be very comfortable from the number 2 guy to the 3 guys stepping up and being able to play ball this year. Mm-hmm. So let's just start with it then. Let's start with defensive end. Let's start up front. Let's go with D end. USC J, who do you have at D end?
D end, I got the Texas A&M transfer. This is going to be Anthony Lucas. I got him at the D end. He was 5-star coming out of high school. Only played in 7 games, but the potential is absolutely there. And I think Caleb Williams said it best, man, during the spring. He said he made a move. He had a step that was so fast. He says, I have no idea how he did it. If you guys recall that in the spring game, spring practice. And so that potential alone, I think that's going to speak volumes to his production. I think he's going to be extreme. I think he's going to explode on this year.
Well said. Yeah, I'm there with you. I got to hop forward to the chat here because I want to hear what people are saying as well. Sorry, guys. I'll get back to you. We got a really lively chat. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys can be patient with me because there's a lot of chat going on. So, and I want to stay involved in the conversation. I agree with you. Absolutely. I think, by the way, it'll be pretty much chalk for these first 3. It might get interesting once we get to the rush end. But Rusty, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I agree there. Anthony Lucas, obviously the transfer with, I guess, a little bit of a, I'm not sure if he's going to be defensive tackle or defensive end when it all shakes out, but Jack Sullivan, really excited to see him in the Pac-12 as well.
You're cheating, Rusty. You're cheating. I know. I got you. You're cheating.
1A, 1B there. But those are the two I'm really excited to see. I think, like you mentioned, really did a great job of, finding the best talent out there in the transfer portal. So really excited to see that all come together.
Yeah. Again, these fools out there, they're talking mess about our defense. I just cannot wait for who here can't wait for week 4 when these guys are eating so much crow. We're going to put butter and salt because they'll be so tired of it. I'm telling you, it's going to be brutal when these national pundits, these experts, are telling us that the defense, about the defense. I think that they're going to be really sorry that it came out so hard against USC. G Greens.
Yeah.
So who do you have penciled in at defensive end?
It has to be Anthony Lucas. I mean, this guy has first-round potential. He has size, length, just a complete beast. I think he's going to have a huge year. Love his game. Has to be him. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. And just so we all said, there's a couple of crowd favorites, and I'm not going to cheat. Yes, my answer definitely is Anthony Lucas. But you have Solo Tuapupu. He's going to be I think he's going to get after it. And Corey Foreman, I'm just saying, I believe in this dude, and he didn't ask for all the crap that people threw at him his freshman year. He's been working through some stuff, going to different positions. And any Trojan out there, if you're not pulling for this kid, he's a diehard Trojan. I know all of you begged for him to come to our school, so I also hope you guys are all behind him as he tries to get his place on this defense. Next up, let's slide over. Let's go to nose tackle. JT, USC J, who do you have at nose tackle?
I got the Arizona transfer. I'm going to have Keon Bars. You guys know he was highly sought after in the transfer portal. LSU, Mississippi State, Auburn, all these guys from the SEC wanted them. And I think that same production that he had at Arizona last year, I think that's going to translate well to USC, man. I'm penciling him in at the big nose tackle to cause absolute disruption this year.
Yeah. I can't argue with that, and especially looking at the pictures so far we've seen this year. This man came in big, and I don't know how it was humanly possible. I heard all these Sooner fans, watch out for Wiley. You guys will be the speed defense. You guys are going to be frail and blah blah. We've all seen these dudes, and we know there was just a lot of crying coming out of Norman, and I totally agree with you. What's going on with Keon Bars is defying logic and physics. That dude's getting bigger and bigger. He was already huge when he got here. Rusty, what do you got?
So again, I don't know where they're going to end up, but I'm hoping, just looking at, Keon Bars, I wouldn't call it a regression because he had a great year last year, filling the A gap for Arizona. But if you take a look at 2021, when he was mainly, looking at the B gap, he had his best year in college so far. So I'm hoping it's Bear Alexander in the A gap running the nose tackle, but I wouldn't be mad if it's Bars. I wouldn't be mad if they're switching A gap, B gap from nose tackle to D tackle. For me it's those guys kind of grouped together, Bars or Alexander. I'm happy with either one of them at nose tackle.
Yeah, and I can't really add much to that. Absolutely. G Greens, what are you thinking here? Nose tackle.
I have Bars here as well. I actually think he has some high pass rush upside. And I think he is from Murrieta, California, the best city on the planet, I might add. But yeah, it has to be Keon Bars there. Yeah,
agreed. I like, Rusty, what you're saying. And I didn't know about that move. I didn't follow him at the Sun Devils as much as you did. But I just know wherever they put Bars, he's going to be a difference maker, and I'm excited. And I think that pretty much. I think we could probably save some time and just say, who do we have left on that line?
Do we have a bear sound?
Right, I don't have a drop for that. Sorry. Yeah, so we can all move past it. Anyone want to say anything, about this kid? So I have a friend of mine. He has his own YouTube channel, and he's a Georgia YouTuber, and he basically said to me when all of the Georgia fans were coming up this story about he was a cancer in the locker room and we've been hearing the whole time a narrative about the fact that the players are checking these guys out when they come out to visit, and there's a tight-knit community, and they are absolutely about character. So couple things I want to say. I don't know, and I don't care about the situation. I know that when I was young, I did some dumb stuff. And dumb stuff, that's what you're supposed to do when you're young. You do dumb stuff. I think coming here and by the way, I don't know what he's done. I'm not going that rumor mill. But I am saying that the guy that I do know a lot about, Georgia, he said, look, man, you got a true freshman starting on the line at Georgia when, not starting, but playing on the line at Georgia. And when someone went down and you had to come up, Bear was coming right off the bench. It wasn't someone else. It wasn't a higher ranked guy. He was a 4-star, whatever they were doing. The 5 stars weren't coming off the bench. It was Bear Alexander. And that kid is going to was making an impact on that Georgia defensive line. And there's one thing that we know about Kirby Smart is that D-line is sick. It's NFL. And this is a kid as a true freshman getting reps. Anyone want to say anything else about Bear Alexander?
Yeah. Let me speak to, and I agree with you, man. It doesn't, I had Bear Alexander, once he transferred, I actually interviewed him on my channel and had an opportunity to talk with him and his family. And let me just say this, Bear Alexander is extremely hungry. The way Georgia, I think they do it, like they have certain ones that run it on first down and third down and second and fourth down, and they got a big rotation. I mean, it's, we stated it with the coaches, man. They got crazy talent there right now. So Bear, man, he wanted to come and just have an opportunity to still play for a big time team in USC, but be able to showcase his talent. And you see Benny Wiley posting all these videos. Man, Bear Alexander looked like he's absolutely fit right now. He looked like he's in shape.
Yeah.
And I think he's extremely focused. I've been checking him out on social media, and I text him. He texted me the other day. So I think he's motivated. He says he doesn't go anywhere. And that's what his exact words to me. He just handles his business, man. So I think we can expect Big D tackle Bear Alexander to cause disruption next to Keon Bars.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else want to touch on Bear Alexander?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, that's a good way to wrap it up. Okay, well then let's move on. Let's move into rush end. We put him here on the line because it's like a hybrid position, right? Who do you got the rush?
I got Jamil Muhammad, and let me say this. I mean, Lincoln Riley did say that, but Sam Green is right there. I mean, he's right there, and Ramilo Hyde is right there as well. Yep. If he lives up to his expectations. So that's kind of but I think it's going to be Jamil Muhammad. He was the most active in the spring. According to Lincoln Riley, he was all over the field. Things that we didn't even see as far as just the practice. So I'm gonna go with Jamil Muhammad.
Great call, Money Mill. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that size and the fact that he used to be a quarterback, right?
Right. So, recruited as a quarterback to Vanderbilt. And end up switching positions.
And just having that knowledge. I mean, having that knowledge of offenses, right? And then also, if you're doing your film study as an offensive guy as a quarterback, you're also knowing the defense. This is gonna be a cerebral kid. He comes in, he's stout, he's fast, he's quick, and I think that the Pac-12 is in trouble. Rusty, what do you got?
I don't know. I guess I'm a ball knower. Jamil Muhammad. Right next to Kyan Bars on all of the highlights of the workout sessions this summer is Jamil Muhammad. He's a warrior. He's a grinder. So I'm really excited to see what he can do off the end.
Yeah, absolutely. G Greens, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you guys said it. It's got to be Jamil. I mean, he's an elite athlete. He's a very smart player. I think he's going to have double-digit sacks this year. Yeah,
it's going to be exciting. And you broke on Sam Green. And we're talking about, guys, remember, we're talking about who we have right now. We got some exciting players, and this obviously can change. But if you were told me the all-around guy who's ready to go, I'm going with these guys. But I am keeping an eye on Sam Green, man. I just think he's going to be something special. And also Ramilo Hyde. We just did our show, Rick and I, we have a show, and we were talking about just, who we're looking at coming back this year from injury. That's a whole nother layer that the rest of this national media don't understand. Just you guys don't know, I'm not gonna go into it, but all the players that were injured that couldn't play last year on defense, they come in, they're going to make a hell of a difference on our defense as well. All right. Then let's go move over to, let's go to our will position. Who do you guys have playing there? USC J, you ready?
Oh, yeah. You waiting on me. Okay, yeah. On the wheel, I'm going to have Gentry on the wheel. I'm going to have Gentry on the wheel.
Yeah, I'm kind of more of a natural position for him. I think he's rangy out there, right? Yeah.
And the thing about it, I think a lot of people were making reference to some missed tackles last year at the end of the season. And I will say this, Gentry has picked up like 23, 24 pounds, something like that. I think he's at 225, 228, somewhere around there. And not Jamel Muhammad, but Eric Gentry, man, he is the one. He changes the trajectory of quarterbacks' throws. I mean, he does all kinds of different things, and I think his football IQ is like second to none, man. So I don't see how we can absolutely leave Eric Gentry out, man. And at the end of the year, he did get hurt, so you can tell and come to find out he did have a fractured ankle, so he wasn't 100%. And we know in the beginning of the year, that man was sticking his head inside of these tackles, goal line stands, even though he wasn't the biggest guy. Can we imagine how it's going to be now that he's picked up a little weight? I think it's going to be straight up go time with Eric Gentry.
Yeah, no one has to sell me on this guy. I like the fact I love that he says, stop asking about weight. That's so overplayed a lot in the media and stuff about his weight and stuff. I do not want to be a quarterback if he drops back and have to throw in the passing lane. We saw it last year. He's quick. He can get there. At Arizona State, he was in that backfield like no other. I think moving him over to Will, I think is going to open up a lot of playmaking ability. He's the guy to do it. Absolutely. Rusty, what do you got there? I think you probably got the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going with Eric Gentry. It's going to be tough to keep him off the field for sure.
Yeah, I agree. That you just have to find a place for him. G Greens, what do you have?
Yeah, it has to be Eric Gentry. People like to forget that up until his injury, he was the best tackler on the team, literally the best tackler. So yeah, it has to be Eric.
Yeah, and he came back injured, and we would have seen more from him if he hadn't been injured. Okay, the slide is the other inside is the mic. So what do we got going? There's a couple of choices here. This is one where it kind of goes into like it's almost not chalk. Here it comes down to what you're looking at. I mean, I know I have mine. I've been consistent the whole time. I'll just tell you, I have Cobb inside, so I can save you guys on that one. He came over from Oklahoma State, and I have no doubt one of the biggest things. He's a stud on the field, but you know what? I'm really with him. If any of you guys have heard him talk, this guy is mature beyond his years. I mean, he's one of the older players. He's coming over. He's also bringing in awareness, and that's the quarterback of the defense. I can't wait to see him calling at plays, but also the biggest thing I want to see is I want to see the tackling. I think that our defensive line is amazing. I do want to see how well they move and how well they work in space. And I think that Mason Cobb be the guy that's really going to help us out in the linebacking core. USC J?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, his football IQ as well. He's just a leader. That's not taking anything. I think Shane Lee's a leader as well, but he is an absolute leader, man. And he has the ability to read defenses. And, listening to his press conference during the spring, man, he talked about we got one common goal, man. And that was like, you all know that he's thinking about championship. Everybody's thinking about championship. He's bought into the point of what Lincoln Riley says, job is not finished. So I really like his attitude, and his aggressive, and really looking into his eyes, man. Mason Cobb, you can see it. It's like he knows that it's go time. Your mic, Tim, I think your mic is off.
Yeah, my bad. Situationally, we're going to see this position bouncing around a little bit as the year goes on. We got some guys that are coming up, and Mason will be challenged. I think he's up to the challenge. But the way that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to see it on a slender. Guys, who else do we have at middle linebacker? Rusty, you ready?
Yeah. I'm going to roll with what you guys said, Mason Cobb, right? Cerebral guy. We think about linebackers back in the day, not even that long ago, where, you have Clay Matthews, Ray Malaluga, Brian Cushing, just big dudes who can just get after the quarterback, get after the running back. It's not like that anymore, right? Everyone's too fast. You have to cover the tight end. You have to cover the running back out of the backfield. Mason Cobb has the speed to do that, and I think that's what separates him from what we currently have behind him, for sure.
Yeah. And G Greens?
Yeah, I agree with Mason Cobb. I mean, if you look at the end of the year last year, what we didn't have was a 3-down linebacker playing Mike. Shane Lee was in there. He was injured. He's not a 3-down linebacker by trade. So with Mason Cobb in there, I think that's really going to help out the defense.
Yeah. And again, you're going to see certain guys that you just are not going to be able to keep off of the field. I mean, Rajon Davis has been a big fan favorite. The guy just, whenever he's had an opportunity, has shown out. It's a great position to be in where we really can't decide, who exactly is going to be penciled in there. I think there'd be a lot of movement, but I at this point, I absolutely, there's nothing in my mind that doesn't say that Mason Cobb's getting the first shot starting at linebacker. All right, so then let's move to the easiest one. Let's go to free safety. All right, just do any safety. Just give me your two safeties if you want. We want to do it that way, and then we'll go to nickel.
Yeah.
Then we'll do corners, or do you want to do corners? Let's do this. Let's do the corners because that's a hot debate too. Let's do the corners. Just give me your two corners. You don't have to tell me boundary or field. Just let's just go with who do you think our starting corners are going to be? Any volunteers? Or we've been going. Jay, you want to go first?
I'll let them guys go first.
All right, let's go first. G Greens, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Reverse
All
it.
right. I got Damani Jackson and Jacoby Covington. That combo gives you length, tackling, and athleticism. So I'm going to go with those two.
Yeah, Damani Jackson in the spring game was laying the wood, you guys, right?
Yeah,
he was just breaking down and boom and driving. It was really, really great to see tackle like that from the corner position. Rusty, what do you got?
Yeah, I've got Sierra Wright starting at one of the corners. I think Coach Dante really loves him. Obviously, beginning of last year, he was one of the starters. I think he was a little undersized, a little bit green, just a little bit new to the college game, it being his second year. But I think, there's been a lot of great development with him, and I think that's going to really show out this year. And then the other side, you have Damani. I think he's back. I think he's fully healthy. Speed is back, as you can see from Benny Wiley's Instagram posts of everyone going miles per hour, whatever they're doing out there. Damani Jackson for sure. I think he's really going to show out, and I think it's going to be tough again to keep some of these guys off the field. Who's behind you. There's a lot of depth, so it's exciting that these guys are going to get multiple opportunities to really just show what they have.
Yeah, and there's multiple guys at corner. Let's remember, I do think that some of these guys are also getting some serious looks at nickel. Like some of these guys are going to find their way on the field one way or another, and I think again we're so deep at corner that I can't wait as a fan because I'm not worried about how it's going to turn out great no matter who it is. As a fan, I can't wait to see some of these positions like we talked rush end, like the middle, the Mike position, and now we're talking about the cornerback. There's gonna be some great fall camp. You guys get ready, buckle up for fall camp. I think it's been fierce competition. That's gonna make the cream rise up because steel iron sharpens iron. What do you got, USC J?
Man, this is really, I think out of all positions, safety, cornerback, nickel is extremely hard. I got you. The reason I wanted to go last because I really just put out a video the other day about this, and I had Damani on one side, but it was Damani and Christian Roland Wallace. I couldn't decide. I really couldn't because you got a guy like Christian Roland Wallace who not locked up. I keep saying that, Lord forgive me, but who held it down when it came to Garden Drake, London. Man, I don't think they brought him over here to Arizona for him just to not play. So it's either Damani or Christian Roland Wallace. And then I'm going to go with Jacoby Covington. Out of all the cornerbacks, you guys know Jacoby Covington had that interception during the spring game. And he took that ball from Dorian Singer, man. Incredible play. I think his length, along with either Damani or Christian Roland Wallace, I think that's going to be absolutely incredible. And he showed out the most to me as far as cornerbacks in the spring.
Man, talk about length. We have Maliki Crawford from last year. Talk about length. So, but if I'm going to say this year, I'm looking at this. I'm going to steal from all you guys because I'm going to go. I think you're right about the Christian Roland Wallace thing. He's great against the run. I think that he, like you, my reason for it is he didn't come over here to sit on the bench. I think they do see something in him. It's exciting, but don't get me wrong. And then on the other side, I'm going Sierra Wright as well. There was kind of platooned last year. But again, this position at corner, and I'm going that way, by the way, because I'm kind of tipping my hand about the nickel. But I mean, I'm just telling you guys right now that it's going to be an amazing competition. And I'll tell you what, someone should get an award. If someone here on this panel gets corner, nickel, safety right, you should go to Vegas right away because that's damn amazing. That's all I'm leaving it at. This goes so many different ways. So we're all brave for trying it, and we're doing our best. But that's just the way it is. All right, so let's stick with the reverse order again, and let's go ahead and let's move it to that nickel position. Who's going to play that nickel?
I got Jalen Smith. Up until the Colorado game when he got hurt, I thought he was our second most consistent defender, only behind Mekhi Blackman. And I just really think he's ready to have a big year. Got to go with Jalen.
Yeah, you're going with the experience. That's a really good call. Rusty, what do you got?
I think game one definitely Jalen Smith. I'm excited to see what is it Fegans, what he can do. Transfer from Alabama, and then again want to see. Would love to see practices live, but Zion Branch, I think he's going to be lined up in nickel, coming in from one of the safety positions. So I'm excited to see all three of those guys and what they can bring this year. But definitely going Jalen Smith.
Yeah, USC J.
Yeah, you got to go. That's one of the things with the starters in spring. You got to go with Jalen Smith, but there is kind of a somewhat, and there's no disrespect. There's some honorable mention that's going to be attached to this. You got to, because there's no way a guy like Traquan Figgens, man, coming over, his cover ability. I mean, he looked like he played corner at Alabama, but man, you can stick him with his length as well as athleticism. I kind of feel the same way about Roland Wallace as I did with Traquan Figgens. So it's Jalen Smith, and then you got Max Williams as well. I mean, that was one of the hardest things. So I would say Jalen Smith. It's extremely hard, and I really, it's one of those where you don't want to pick.
It's just so there's so many great athletes.
Because here's the thing. Just say, for instance, that Christian Roland Wallace starts at the other cornerback. You know what? You got to put Damani over there. He's going to be the next athletic guy running a 10-2. There's no way Damani's not going to be on the field if Christian Roland Wallace happens to start. So that was my thought process as well. So,
yeah. I mean, that nickel is almost whoever goes there is going to be somebody that fills a role in a slot and a position that is going to be situational at times, but also we're playing this little game. We're going through all these players, and there's studs out there. I mean, Max Williams was number 2 in tackles last. No, wait, was he number 1? I think he might.
He has some big, and Max Williams has some big plays. Of course, during the Oregon State game, he had that clutch interception for us.
Yeah,
came up extremely big, but man, if Christian Roland Wallace, I'm gonna say it one more time. You guys go hear it here first. If Christian Roland Wallace wins that other spot on the other side of Covington, look for Damani to play nickel, or vice versa. I mean, they both extremely good athletes.
Yeah, I have no doubt that these guys are going to find their way. These guys are going to have their shots, and whoever steps up is going to be the guys to be playing. So again, those practices, to steal from USCJ are going to be on and popping. I mean, there's going to be some hitting. These guys, these practices are going to be live because there's a lot of competition, and that just tells us that these guys are going to be out there every day busting their asses, and it's going to lead to great things for USC on Saturdays. All right, so let's go to the safety. Let's just do both safeties, right? So give me your strong and your free safeties.
I have Kalen Bullock and Bryson Shaw. Kalen Bullock, it's obvious he's an All-American. I know USC fans think he can't tackle, but last year he had an 86 tackling grade per PFF. Only missed 7% of his tackles, so he's a great tackler. Yeah, he looked bad on the highlight reel, but he can tackle. And then Bryson Shaw, just based on what Alex Grinch has shown us so far.
Yeah. So just guys, so you don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody here? I believe 80 is an NFL grade. Is that correct for PFF? So he got an 86. That puts him in well within an NFL grade. Is that correct?
Yes.
Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. Kalen Bullock is the number one in the Pac-12 according to PFF in the Pac-12 safety returning. Also, Kalen Bullock is the top 10 safety in the country right now. Extremely high. I think I got it on here. I think he does have a 97. So the nation recognizes him as the number one safety in the country, one of the number one safeties in the country, top 10 safety. You got to go with Kalen Bullock.
Yeah, man, this guy's All-American. We're talking about a history of All-American linebackers: Smith, Lott, McDonald. I just go down the line. I mean, you could do it. And this guy
he's
is
at an 82.5. I got it right here. 82.5 PFF grade.
Yeah, we get Mark Carrier. We get our safeties, and this guy's the next guy in there as far as well. So we got your free safety. Who's your strong safety, USCJ?
I think it's going to be Bryson Shaw to open it up, but I don't know if he wins that job. I just don't. I think Antoine Figgens, I think Anthony Beavers, I think either one of those guys, Bryson Shaw, either one of those guys, I think the competition is open for that. That's just my opinion. You got some guys that are, and then Zion Branch. You got Zion Branch there as well. So I'm not locked on that position, but only reason is because he started the spring. But I think it's going to be a battle in the summer. Oh, excuse me, fall.
I think you laid that out right. I think there's a lot. I think that Bryson Shaw has built up a lot of what's I'm looking for here. As far as with the coaching staff, yeah, they trust. They have a lot of trust with him. He knows the system, and he's a great athlete in his own right. But he's going to have some people pushing him, including Max Williams, a number of guys that are going to be filling that spot. But I agree with you that Bryson Shaw is probably going to be your starter there as well. And then obviously, it's Kalen Bullock at free safety. Who do I have? Rusty, are you next?
Yeah. I'm going
all over the place on that last one. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, we're good. They're good. No, I'm going with the same two as you guys. Kalen Bullock, Bryson Shaw. Obviously, Kalen Bullock looks bigger, which is great news for those that can doubt his ability to put on weight. Obviously, he gets called sticks a lot. But Kalen Bullock looks bigger. Obviously, for most of us that don't pay attention to one missed tackle in the Utah game, he's a great tackler, knows what he's doing out there, very cerebral. He's the quarterback of the defense, right? So, I think he does a great job of holding down his position. And, Bryson Shaw, I mean, he's consistent, right? You know what you're going to get out of him. I think he does hold down the position. He was a consistent starter spring camp on pursuit drills from what everyone kind of reported. So, that's kind of a good sign. I think obviously, Alex Grinch is the safety coach also. So he has an eye for good safeties. He typically gets safeties drafted in the NFL draft too. Something that is very underrated for him when you kind of look back on his career. But he gets safeties drafted, has a good eye for talent at that position. So got to go with those two guys.
Hey, can I say add one thing to Rusty's point? You got to remember too, we got Greg Brown that came from. He was all over at Alabama. He was
Thorpe Award winner.
As a defensive analyst, and man, this guy had 3 Biletnikoff Award winners. So you got to think that he's going to add that much more experience and that much more teachable moments for. Sorry for my camera. Teachable moments and the ability for these guys to learn with somebody like Greg Brown, man. Because I think these guys are going to get ready to be coached up big time.
That's a great point. So you guys, USC J is referring to Brown. He's the defensive analyst, and like he said, he coached 3 Thorpe Award winners, and adding that to Williams and adding that to the guys we have in place, I think that as you guys just saw, we sat here and I'm really actually surprised how many of these guys that we agreed on, because there's some sticky spots in here, and you did see them where there was a little bit of difference. And the great thing about having these 3 guys on here with me is that they do bring this kind of content, this kind of knowledge. I hope you guys, if you've enjoyed the show so far, what I would like you guys to remember is getting these guys go ahead and hit these guys up on social media. Tell them you guys want to see this again. You could find USC J. Go ahead and give out your information for them really quick.
Right, and I appreciate that, Tim. On YouTube, it's USC J, just like you see it here. I think I see it there on the channel. But then on YouTube, on Instagram and Twitter, it's going to be USC J32 on any one of those platforms, and the new thread as well.
There's a space in between that, huh?
Oh, there we go. I see it there. Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. We gotta get yours on there. I don't see yours. Hold on a minute. Let me fix that. Do you know how to do that, Jay?
I see it on there.
No, I don't see your. Am I missing it? I don't see your social. Rusty, go ahead and tell them where we can find you, and just give them a breakdown, because I did a poor job of it. Tell them what you're doing, and possibly if you want to share any future endeavors with them, feel free to use that moment.
Yeah, no, you can find me on Twitter at FightOnRusty, Arrogant Nation. Honestly, no future endeavors. I'll be, I'm gaining content right now for the season. Oregon fans, Washington fans, Cal fans, Stanford fans, everyone commenting on my stuff. It's all bait for the season. I'm saving it. I'm waiting.
I can't wait.
Be careful.
No, I literally can't wait. You are absolutely a master at your craft. You have these guys walk right into you, just like today. Man, that Irish fan just didn't know what. After you laid it out for him, that Irish fan looked so silly. I felt sorry. I almost felt sorry for him. And G Greens, go ahead, please let us know where we can find you on YouTube and as well as social media.
Yeah, find me on YouTube. Just add G Greens, as you see on the screen there. And then on Twitter and Instagram, I'm at G Greens with 3 S's at the end there.
So you guys, I mean, I can't tell you how privileged I am to have these 3 gentlemen share the same panel as me. We kind of just did this because we all, have enjoyed talking to each other. And I said, hey guys, why don't we just do it? And they all took from their times. These guys are all very busy individuals. And if you want to see them, if we want to see us all together again, get in these guys' social media. Let them know you guys want to see a show like this again. Let them know that you enjoyed it. Also, you guys out there, if you could do me just a small favor, if you guys have enjoyed, the show, if you felt like you guys did receive information, and if you had a couple laughs, hopefully along the way, just take a minute. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, please hit a like and subscribe and notify. These are the 3 ways that I find out that I'm providing you guys with the best entertainment. Obviously, today I know I'm going to get some likes in here because I got, again, 3 of the best guys. I picked my dream team. These were the guys that I wanted. I can't believe I was 3 for 3. They decided to join me. I would be really happy to join these guys anytime on their platforms or whatever, maybe even get something going in the future. So if you guys would like to see more of this in the future, again, please help me out. Go ahead, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And let these 3 great gentlemen know. Go check out their channels if you haven't checked them out before. All the content. This is the USC family. This is what the USC family is about. I reached out to these guys and the Trojan family said, yep, let's do this. And they came on. So again, if you want to see more of this, let us know. Let any of us know. We're going to be talking. And I can't wait to see these 3 guys in the future. You guys, we're right around the corner from media days. We're even closer. It just seems like we're going to blink. It's going to be fall camp. And the next thing you know, we're going to be laying the wood to San Jose State. You guys, appreciate all of you guys. I know you'll all have options out there. You guys all took the time here to check us out. Please go ahead and leave that comment. I am curious, guys. Give us your top 5 coaches if you want to. Also, let us know where did we get it right, where did we get it wrong as far as those positions are. And then until the next time, all 3 of us see you guys. I just want to say thank you all for being here. And everybody, you guys, nice big fight on and see you guys very soon.
Fight on.